be it online or in person, we thought we could look at some of the connections between music and other school subjects, just to help set the tone for a productive and engaging school year. Let's see how music relates to science, mathematics, language, physical education, and media arts. And at this point, I'd like to ask you to turn your audio up. I want you to hear all these experiments we're going to do. We'll start with science. Music is science. It is exact, specific. It demands exact acoustics. A conductor's full score is a chart, a graph, which indicates frequencies, intensities, volume changes, melody and harmony all at once and with the most exact control of time. Here's what a conductor's score for a symphony looks like. We're going to listen to some Beethoven. Give me 1 second. Beethoven's from Vienna, Austria. You may recognize this. Now, music can also be measured, graphed, and studied using electronic devices. This is an oscilloscope. It's a device used to test an electrical signal. Oscilloscopes measure the changing voltage of a signal over time and display it as a waveform in a graph with sweeps of voltage on a vertical y-axis and time on a horizontal x-axis. Scientists and engineers use an oscilloscope to compare different waves, including sound waves. The oscillo part of the word means swing, like in the word oscillate. Now, I have a violin here. Let's see what it looks like when we play the violin into this oscilloscope. I also have a guitar. Let's test the sound of the guitar and see what it looks like on a wave. Great thing about this little app is you can freeze the wave in time to see what it looks like at any point. All right. I have another app to show you. This is called an electronic Oscilloscope, and it's got a piano keyboard attached, and you can check out the looks of the different waves on a screen. For example, a square wave sounds and looks like this. A sine wave. A sawtooth wave. And a triangle wave. I like the sawtooth. And actually, you can control the keyboard with the keyboard of the computer. Here's something called a spectrum analyzer. A spectrum analyzer is another device that's used to measure the strength of a signal. It shows a kind of three-dimensional image of a sound. It's primarily used to measure the strength of a spectrum or frequency of known and unknown signals. There's a few examples in here. Let's see. Oh, a bird. Oh, the violin again. What else do we have in here? Whistling. I think that's Beethoven again. Here's a sad trombone. Yeah, that may be the sound you hear when you don't do too well on a test. All right, let's move over to a science class. Oh, sorry, we're moving over to a math class now. Music is mathematics. How? Well, it's rhythmically based on the subdivision of time into fractions, which musicians learn to do instantaneously, not worked out on paper. Mathematics is the study of patterns, and patterns are everything in music. You can study music from the perspective of geometry, number theory, trigonometry, even differential calculus. Now, sounds have frequencies, and frequencies can be measured. Frequency can be defined as the rate at which a vibration occurs. It's sort of the speed of sound. And frequencies also have mathematical relationships to each other. In your math class, you may have heard of a man named Pythagoras. He was the first one to discover that in a right-angled triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Well, Pythagoras was also a musician. He played a lyre. It's kind of a harp. And he discovered that a string exactly half the length of another string will play a pitch that is exactly an octave higher when struck or plucked. Here's how it looks. Here's a full-length string, and here's divided in two, one octave higher. The longer the string, the lower the sound. It kind of sounds like a bass that you see behind me has this sound. See if I can play it. Let's go band. Right, music is mathematics. Oh, here's another cool application. This is called a tone generator. It creates a pitch at whatever frequency you like. Frequency is measured in vibrations per second. We call that hertz. Right now it's set to 440 hertz, which is a standard frequency for tuning musical instruments. Sounds like this. Different waves that you can hear the sound. That's a square wave. Here's the sawtooth again, and the triangle. Now, if you take any frequency and divide it by 2, you get an octave lower, like this. So 440. If I double the frequency, multiply by 2, I should get a sound that is exactly 1 octave higher. Pretty neat. All right. This next application is going to show you what it means to be out of tune. Here's two waves, or two frequencies represented as waves. Frequency 1 in blue, frequency 2 in red. Right now, they're both set to 440 hertz. That's vibrations per second. We can play the sound. Now, if I adjust the frequency of one, you'll hear how the two blend, sometimes not so harmoniously. You can even overlay the waves to see how they look together and then adjust them. Now, the way tuning works is if you're close to the exact same frequency, you get this out of sync sound wave. For example, if I set one wave to 444 beats per second, or frequency, and then hear the sound of them together. You'll hear a little beat pattern, and that's the sound of the waves not quite in sync with each other. As you get closer and closer to the same frequency, that beat will slow down. Here's 442 against 440. 441 will be very close, but you'll still hear a beat. Till finally, perfect tuning, you get a smooth sound. No wave. Music is mathematics. All right, it's time to head over to our language class. Music is language. You think about music as a language, well, you can read music, you can write music, and you can certainly communicate through music. I think most people would agree that music is a language. In fact, you could argue that it is the most complete and universal language of all. It's a language everyone understands. For our purposes here, I just want to look at rhythm. Rhythm simply means a strong, regular, repeated pattern of movement or sound. And some cultures use a system of vocal syllables or vocables to teach rhythm, a kind of vocal percussion. Certainly rap and hip hop music fit in perfectly with this model. In parts of India, for example, musicians use vocal percussion to teach rhythmic modes. It's called tal. Here's some examples.
This is not a difficult double circuit will come. Try.
Okay. Here's another example. I like this one a lot. Vocal percussion. All right, that's your homework for the weekend. All right, next we're going to hit the gymnasium. Musical instrument playing requires fantastic coordination of fingers, hands, arms, lip, cheek, facial muscles, and extraordinary control of the diaphragmatic back, stomach, and chest muscles, which respond instantly to the sound the ear hears and the mind interprets. Music instrument learning has many obvious physical benefits, including improved reflexes, coordination, and fine motor skills. Here's a brief TED Ed video showing how playing a musical instrument benefits your brain, first of all.
Did you know that every time musicians pick up their instruments, there are fireworks going off all over their brain? On the outside, they may look calm and focused, reading the music and making the precise and practiced movements required. But inside their brains, there's a party going on. How do we know this? Well, in the last few decades, neuroscientists have made enormous breakthroughs in understanding how our brains work by monitoring them in real time with instruments like fMRI and PET scanners. When people are hooked up to these machines, tasks such as reading or doing math problems each have corresponding areas of the brain where activity can be observed. But when researchers got the participants to listen to music, they saw fireworks. Multiple areas of their brains were lighting up at once as they processed the sound, took it apart to understand elements like melody and rhythm, and then put it all back together into unified musical experience. And our brains do all this work in the split second between when we first hear the music and when our foot starts to tap along. But when scientists turn from observing the brains of music listeners to those of musicians, the little backyard fireworks became a jubilee. It turns out that while listening to music engages the brain in some pretty interesting activities, playing music is the brain's equivalent of a full-body workout. The neuroscientists saw multiple areas of the brain light up, simultaneously processing different information in intricate, interrelated, and astonishingly fast sequences. But what is it about making music that sets the brain alight?
Okay, so playing an instrument is a full body workout for the brain. Well, what about the physical side of our body? Well, I think we can talk about dance for this. Of course, music can be interpreted through dance, an extremely beneficial physical activity, and also a powerful method of storytelling. The Métis are a people of mixed European and Indigenous ancestry, and one of the three recognized Aboriginal peoples in Canada. The Métis celebrate their ancestry through music and dance. Take a look.
Dance and music are powerful vehicles for storytelling. And what better way to explore the origins of Métis jigging and fiddle music than through performance? The Métis jig is a unique dance that combines the intricate footwork of First Nations dances with various Scottish, Irish, and French dance forms, all to the up-tempo rhythms of Métis fiddle music. The chicken dance originates with the Blackfoot people and is one of the oldest First Nations dances. The dancers imitate the movements of the prairie chicken, accompanied by the lively beat of a drum. Métis jigs include the quick, detailed step movements of many First Nations dances, including the chicken dance and the grass dance. One of the oldest Scottish Highland dances is the sword dance. It became tradition among Highland warriors and clansmen during the 15th century to celebrate victory in battle. There are many characteristics that the Scottish sword dance and the Métis sash dance have in common. However, it is the extra beats in the Métis sash dance that make it a faster moving dance. The French-Canadian style of dancing is unique to Quebec, but its roots can be traced back to Scotland and Ireland. The intricate footwork is often close to the floor, with the dancer's arms hanging loosely by their sides. This footwork, and some step dancing forms, can be seen in Métis jigs. Métis fiddle music and performance is influenced by Scottish, Irish, French, and First Nations traditions, resulting in a unique style. Vigorous foot tapping is believed to have originated as a replacement for First Nations and Celtic hand drumming. The fiddle is played with a focus on creating danceable rhythms, as Métis music has always been intended for social purposes and dancing.
Okay, let's move along. We're going to move to our last class of the day before you're dismissed for the weekend, and it's going to be media arts. Music is media art. Music allows a human being to take all these dry, technically boring, but difficult techniques and use them to create feeling. That is the one thing science and mathematics cannot duplicate: humanism, feeling, emotion. So here's a couple of interesting links that I've come across. This is the Kandinsky method. This experiment I'm about to share with you was inspired by Vasily Kandinsky, a Russian artist who compared painting to making music. This application turns anything you draw, lines, circles, triangles, scribbles, into sound. Take a look. All right, taking this idea of music visualization a little further, take a look at this scrolling bar graph score of Mozart's Symphony No. 40 in G minor. All right. Alrighty. Lastly, here's a link that demonstrates new approaches to audiovisual experience using artificial intelligence, or AI. These music visualizations are generated by artificial intelligence. Take a look. That was nice. All righty. Let me just close this down. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed today's presentation and that maybe it has you thinking about putting on some music next time you're doing some homework, because studies have shown that music can help you focus on the work you're doing. I'd like to thank you for being here today. I'd like to thank our funders, Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, IRCC. Have a great evening, and we wish you a successful academic year. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.